Thank you, Honourable Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister, the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition, Cabinet Ministers, the Honourable Members of this House. And also in a special way, I join you, Honourable Madam Speaker, in welcoming Rangan Marama Matangali from Ra, from Lawatu, and we hope that you will enjoy your time with us here in Parliament today. Madam Deputy Speaker, I wish to provide the House with an update on the reconciliation process undertaken by the Republic of Fiji Military Forces. This initiative is entirely internal to the institution and reflects its decision to examine its history, its internal culture, and the consequences of its past actions on different communities across Fiji. Madam Deputy Speaker, the RFMF recognizes that stable service to the nation requires a clear understanding of its own past. The institution has therefore begun by looking inward. It is assessing the events that shaped its identity and the internal attitudes that developed over the decades. This work is necessary for the RFMF to operate with consistency, discipline, and accuracy in understanding of its constitutional responsibilities. At the center of this effort are structured internal consultations involving former and current personnel, families, and individuals affected by the events of 1987, 2000, and 2006. These conversations have provided the RFMF with direct accounts of harm, disruption, and long-term impacts experienced by different groups. This process assists the institution to identify areas where internal systems must be improved and where historical assumptions require correction. Madam Deputy Speaker, the RFMF has acknowledged that the Indo-Fijian community experienced substantial and lasting consequences arising from the events of 1987. These consequences extended beyond immediate disruptions. Many Indo-Fijian families faced prolonged uncertainty about their safety, their livelihoods, and their long-term place in the country. Some relocated overseas, others remained, but carried an ongoing sense of insecurity that influenced many family decisions, employment choices, and community relationships. The RFMF recognizes that these impacts did not conclude with the passing of time. They form part of the lived history of the Indo-Fijian community and remain embedded in Fiji's collective memory. The institution has accepted that an incredible reconciliation process must engage these realities directly. It also understands that approaching the Indo-Fijian community requires a method that is practical, respectful, and sustained. The RFMF is aware that the circumstances surrounding 1987, 2000, and 2006 were complex. They involved political forces, social tensions, historical grievances, and institutional decisions that intersected in ways that cannot be reduced to a single narrative. This complexity means that no single gesture, whether symbolic or administrative, can address the full range of experiences carried by Indo-Fijian families. Madam Deputy Speaker, The RFMF is therefore considering a structured approach that balances cultural sensitivity with practical engagement. This includes identifying appropriate community representatives, consulting individuals who lived through the period, and documenting their accounts in a manner that accurately reflects the range of experiences that occurred. The RFMF is exploring how it might frame an acknowledgement of harm that avoids generalization and reflects the diversity of circumstances experienced within the Indo-Fijian community. The institution is also examining what form a request for forgiveness might take. It understands that such a step must not be symbolic alone. It must be based on clear understanding, proper preparation, and engagement that is meaningful for those who receive it. This may involve community-level discussions, written acknowledgements, or structured cultural processes analogous in intent to the Mataninga Sau presented to the Great Council of Chiefs, adapted appropriately for the Indo-Fijian community's cultural context. The RFMF's primary concern is to ensure that any approach is guided by accuracy, dignity, and a realistic understanding of what communities consider as genuine. Madam Deputy Speaker, this work is still in its early stages. The RFMF is collecting information, developing a clearer picture of what occurred, and identifying the methods through which it can approach the Indo-Fijian community in a way that is proportionate to the scale of the harm experienced. The institution's aim is to establish a path that recognizes past actions with honesty and that provides families with an opportunity to receive acknowledgement in a manner that supports long-term national cohesion. The objective is clarity. The RFF does not seek symbolic actions without substance. It seeks to identify approaches that allow the institution to present itself honestly, acknowledge the effect of its past actions, and ask for forgiveness in a manner that is meaningful for families who lived through the period. The RFF understands that these engagements must be consistent and they must be built on facts and not assumptions. Madam Deputy Speaker, an example of the institution taking responsibility is in a structured and culturally appropriate manner is the Mataninga Sau presented to the Mosilebo Wakaturanga of the Great Council of Chiefs. Through this step, the RFMF acknowledged its past actions and their consequences on Fiji's traditional leadership structure. This was one component of a broader internal process. While the Mataninga Sau does not resolve all historical issues, it demonstrates the institution's willingness to confront its past openly and to engage respectfully with national institutions affected by its actions. This model of acknowledgement is informing the RFMF's consideration of how it may approach the Indo-Fijian community in a manner that is equally practical and appropriate. Madam Deputy Speaker, the RFMF is also examining its historic involvement in political affairs. The institution accepts that its actions in the past decades contributed to instability. It is now reviewing how its responsibilities are defined under the Constitution and determining what internal adjustments are required for it to operate as a professional defense institution under civilian authority. This involves reassessing command systems, leadership expectations, and internal decision-making structures to ensure consistency with modern defense standards. To describe this phase of work, we must think of it as clearing of a lens. The institution remains the military force of the state. What it seeks is a clearer understanding of itself. Over time, the lens through which the RFMF viewed its role and history became clouded by unexamined assumptions, internal tensions, and legacies of conflict. By clearing this lens through structured reflection, acknowledgement of past actions, and engagement with affected communities, the RFMF aims to gain an accurate picture of its responsibilities. A clearer internal lens allows the institution to function with fewer distortions and with greater stability. The RFMF has already implemented adjustments based on this reflection. These include strengthening support services, improving internal discussions on discipline and conduct, and expanding direct engagements with families of individuals affected by past events. It has also reaffirmed that behaviors linked to previous instability must not be repeated or permitted to influence current or future operations. Never again, Madam Deputy Speaker, should any citizen of Fiji or otherwise use the RFMF as a means for political advantage. Madam Deputy Speaker, this internal reconciliation process is not designed to reinterpret history. It is a factual assessment intended to ensure that future decisions are based on accurate understanding rather than inherited assumptions. The RFMF has taken the view that it cannot carry unresolved internal issues into its future role. Addressing those issues now strengthens the institution's ability to serve with clarity, consistency, and respect for all communities affected by Fiji's past periods of instability. Honorable Madam Deputy Speaker, the government will continue to observe the RFMF's reconciliation process with care. This does not mean directing its internal work, nor does it mean remaining distant from it. The government recognizes that the RFMF must lead its own reflection. However, the government also has a responsibility to ensure that any institutional process related to national stability occurs within a framework that upholds the Constitution, respects the rights of all citizens, and supports unity across communities. For this reason, the government's involvement will be limited to areas where it supports, strengthens transparency, enhances professional standards, or ensures that the RFMF's work remains aligned with national expectations. Madam Deputy Speaker, national stability remains the primary priority. Fiji has experienced the consequences of instability before. The government is therefore focused on ensuring that the RFMF's internal process does not introduce uncertainty, but instead contributes to a stronger and more predictable security environment. Stability requires disciplined institutions. It also requires institutions that understand their past with clarity. The government views the RFMF's reconciliation process as an opportunity to reinforce these conditions. Institutional accountability is also central. As the state's defense institution, the RFMF holds significant responsibility. Its internal processes must therefore meet a high standard of accuracy, honesty, and completeness. The government will ensure that any outcomes presented publicly are factual and are supported by proper internal documentation. The government may also assist in developing structures such as professional development pathways, reformed internal reporting systems, or improved welfare and counseling frameworks that embed accountability and reduce the likelihood of future instability. Madam Deputy Speaker, fairness to all communities remains an essential component of this work. The effects of Fiji's previous conflicts were not uniform. Different groups experienced different forms of harm. The Indo-Fijian community experienced long-term consequences following the events of 1987. The Tauke communities also, and others, faced their own pressures during the later conflicts. The government's role is to ensure that no community is overlooked in the RFMF's internal reconciliation process, that engagements are grounded in accuracy, and that any steps taken towards acknowledgement or forgiveness are guided by fairness rather than selective emphasis. This balanced approach, careful oversight, practical support, and a clear focus on stability, accountability, and fairness creates an environment where the RFMF can carry out its internal work without external pressure, but with consistent alignment to national expectations and the long-term interests of all our Fijian people. Thank you, Honourable Madam Speaker.